Much. Guys, we are here for the last session, which is actually like in many conferences we have a section called buyer seller meet. So here also we are having a similar session. We have, as you know, we have throughout the day we have discussed various aspects of special steels, the market dynamics. Then we have discussed about green steel making. We have discussed about digitalization. We have discussed about the PLI scheme recently introduced by the government, and we have also discussed about the tool and die steel market forces dynamism, and all that we have discussed throughout the day. In fact, we have two specialized sessions on green steel, which is a buzzword today, or which is the in thing today in the special steels industry across the globe. It is not only domestically affecting the industry, but it is affecting the exports of our special steels as well. So we have discussed that at length, and now we have two personalities here. One is Mr. Rajkamal Shrivastav. Special Steel Fraternity doesn't need any introduction of Rajkamal Shrivastav. He has been around for last almost 40 years, more than 40 years, Rajkamal, isn't it? More than 40 years you have been around special steel sector?
Yeah, not more than around 38 years, you can say.
8 years you are around, and now he is president in the Jayaswal Neco Industries. And so he has a very wide experience about special steels industry, marketing, the customer relationships and customer expectations. And we have Mr. Avinash Arankalle. Dr. Avinash Arankalle is B Metallurgy from COEP, College of Engineering, Pune. MTech in Metallurgical Engineering from IIT Mumbai, and MDBA from IMDR Pune. So he has more than 45 years experience in automotive sector, and he is now he is specialized. I am just reading his resume, so I will take some time. Selection, he is specialization is selection of alternative advanced materials such as AHSS, high strength, and UHSS, aluminum based alloys, plastics, etc. Testing and characterization of materials, including analysis of SOC oblique ROHS in ELV, failure analysis, know-how of implementations of meet LIV directives for substances of concern, SOC, restrictions on hazardous substances, ROHS, control of heavy metals, SVHC as per REACH, and preparing IMDS manual. Special achievements: establish state-of-art laboratories at ARAI Pune, ARAI FID, and Academy Chakan and ICAT Manesar. Validation and research lab for quick connectors at A. Raymond Chakan. Provided consultancy and advices in development of lightweight steels, AHSS, for cross members of HCV, low density and high modulus LDHM, nano steel corrosion studies, and remedial solution of non-ferrous materials used for industrial applications. Developed FRP leaf spring and propeller shaft for LCV first time in India. As one of the former members of BIS, prepared BIS on anti-freeze engine coolant BIS 5759, and supported in preparing standards on automotive fuels, brake fluid, lubricants, etc. As a former member of AISC, supported in preparing standards on control cables, flammability test, FTIR, and TGA analysis of polymers, auto non-tire components. Also prepared NABL guidelines for the mechanical testing. Represented ARAI on CA. Represented ARAI on CAR core group of automotive research for the subgroups on alternative materials and end of life vehicles, ELV and DST CSIR project review committees. The last point is remaining. Published over 50 national and international papers on automobile materials, conducted over 40 training programs, conferences and workshops for the industry, provided guidance to 25 plus BTech and MTech students. So that is a vast and very huge introduction. So very nice to
That's,
have you with us. Thank you very much. He's
yeah,
joining from
yeah,
UK. And so we
yeah,
are here, sir, to
yeah,
know the expectations of the customers. I mean,
yeah,
as you know, the Special Steels, this is a Special Steels Convention, and more than 50% of Special Steels go into automotive industry. So what
correct.
I have conceived with Mr. Udayan Pathak is that we should know the expectations of the customers so that we can act on it. So we have one representative from the steel making fraternity, which is Rajkamal Shrivastav, and now we have you. So you can tell us, you can guide us about the future expectations of auto sector so that we can take the actions accordingly. Or if we have already taken the action, Mr. Rajkamal Srivastav can share with us what action the steel fraternity is taking. Please let us start with Mr. Arankalle. Doctor, Doctor,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is all
okay.
about it. Yeah,
Oh,
please go
yes,
ahead.
yes. Very nice. Thank you very much, Dr. Chandekar. And
I'm not Dr.
Rajkamal
Chandekar,
also.
sir. I am just Chandekar.
Okay, that's okay. And also Rajkumar with me. So let's begin this discussion on what are the
Yeah.
customer expectations, what
Yes.
the topic is being concerned. Now, when we are talking all this, all of us, we know that at present with the current steel manufacturing in India, to my best of knowledge, it is around 161 million tons of crude steels that we are manufacturing, and it is a goal or the target of the government of India to reach it to around 300 million tons in next 2030. That is what I collected the data of information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in this field of automotive materials technology over more than 40 years in providing services on material testing, characterization, failure analysis, and selection of materials. So obviously with this background, somewhere in 86 or 85, 86, when I was associated with the heavy and with the Iron and Steel Ministry of Industry, that time we made some survey of what is the material that goes in manufacturing of steel and why there is more import of steel, as Chandekar said a few minutes back, that more than 50% of import, it lies with the iron and steel, particularly a special grades of steels. So when we are going and targeting to 300 million tons of crude steel to be made, what about the finished steels? And why do we go for auto steel mainly with import? And that is the area where I would say the customer comes into picture. I am saying the customer here is basically the auto OE vehicle manufacturers, and why they are targeting more of import, irrespective of uh, number two, almost number two in the world, the steel manufacturing in India. That's a big question, and also area where a lot of development has to take place. There is a lot of investment versus the capital investment versus the performance requirements expected by the auto industry are coming and working hand in hand together to progress in the future in make in India. So why do we go for import? One of the thing is that as in my alternate material development with some of the auto industry, particularly those multinational companies, I found that more than 62% of steel is imported, particularly the auto grade, cold rolled or hot rolled, mainly cold rolled steels and other as hot rolled steels. And which are these steels? I find that most of them are either AHSS or UHSS grade. That is advanced high strength steels or ultra high strength steels. India is capable and at present maximum utilization is there of all conventional steels, which all of us know is the mild steels and high strength alloy steels or high strength steels, or some of the DP grade of the steel, dual phase steels we are using at present. Some boron grade steels are also being manufactured and used in India, but still there is more rely on import than on using of manufactured in India. A lot of work Tata Steel, JSW, or many other steel manufacturers are doing, but still the import is there. The reasons are, as I understand, that auto quality requirement is one of the grave area which requires more control on chemistry for specific grades of AHSs or UHS grade steels. What are these AHSs and UHS grade steels which customers are particularly requiring? If we start it, I would start it from DP grade of steel, dual phase steels. Number two, martensitic steels, what they call as MS. Then third, we can say there is a trip steel. Then there are grades like ferritic, magnetic steel, FB grades of steels. There is a TWIP steels. There is a boron grades of steel, duplex grades of steel. These, I would say, third to fourth generation steels. If we look at the automotive industry as on today, with current materials, as I said, from using of mild steel, HSLA, HSS, and other grades of materials, we can see there is a shift to the grades of steel, what I'm talking of in last 20 years. That means over the last 25 years, I would say these materials are growing up. If you look at it, 3,500 different grades of steels, they go in, which have been developed over the last 25 years of time, of which 50% of them, or around 200 grades of steels, are going for auto industry, and most of them are imported as on. I know there are many difficulties in import substitution, particularly control on the chemistry, what is desired and expected, which is required to be done at the auto industry steel plants. Number two, some upgradations are essential for the existing steel manufacturers to have better clean steels or more control on elements like oxygen, nitrogen, or hydrogen levels in the steels. Cleanliness, that is the green steel what we require to manufacture for. And there is a upgradation of manufacturing technology where quality consistency is also another requirement of the customers, which has to be met for. And while doing so, auto industry requires certain performance levels or the property levels. What are they? Where customer is expecting for? They are for good formability characteristics, where the R and N values, tensile strength to yield strength to tensile ratio. If you talk of the earlier days, we were talking either the high strength steels, but we never talked of yield strength to tensile ratios, which are becoming more important. I would say the specific property requirements are increasing than only talking of specific property. And in addition, while doing all this, the performance levels are expected to be more. As on today, the safety and crashworthiness are another very important grave areas where we have to meet. The national highways are coming, more traffic is there, though there is a speed limits of 100 kilometers on highways, but still running the vehicles at high speed. At that time, what you require, the crashworthiness and safety. In terms of steel manufacturers, the end customer requires the one which absorbs more energy before the failure, or requires a material which can deform in such a way that it will not break, it will have the catastrophic failures. So lower the catastrophic failures of material, which are expected or requirements of the customers. So this is what we require. So making of steel in the future, we have to look forward in import substitutions with green steels, which will reduce the weight by 25 to 45%, using of this special AHS and UHSs. Number two, in doing so, what you require is corrosion resistance, which are always the criteria, better texture of the material, uh, making it CO2 emission as reduced as possible. What I mean by CO2 reduction is that it comes in life cycle analysis, LCA, from the raw material drawing from the earth's crust to recycling of the material, regeneration and reuse. That is triple R, the recycling, regeneration, and reuse. All these three in the green steel manufacturing are very important criteria. So I think these are the main areas which are very important. And other part is that earlier days, whatever the steels we are talking of conventional, they may not be requiring that much control of different phases in the finished product, like percentage of ferrite, percentage of martensite, percentage of retained austenite, which give specific properties to the end customer requirement, end customers likings. All these are concerned. I think these are the areas where a lot of development is essential in Make in India, and steel industry with having a hub, steel hub, who can take care of all this and make it as our own Indian make material rather than to depend on import. Similar situation is coming up in the European communities, where they have already brought out the laws and regulations for import substitutions. Similarly, I think the Rajesh Kumar can talk on this better, on how the steel industry can progress in meeting all these customers' requirement as end customers as well as end users of the vehicle who require safety and crashworthiness. So can I ask further my
Yeah. Thank you,
colleague?
thank you, thank you, Mr. Arankalle. Now, Rajkamal, your turn.
Yeah, at the outset, I'll just extend my deep thanks to Mr. Chandekar for giving me the opportunity to be part of this forum on 30th Special Steel Convention. Secondly, Mr. Avinash has given a very broad perspective with respect to largely flats product for different uses. But in India, when we talk of a special steel, people talk of more of a value-added SBQ, what in international terms you call as SBQ. And yes, for CRS material you touched upon stainless steel also, duplex steel also. By and large, right now in India, automobile industry cannot afford to use these kind of steel because of its high cost of production. Yeah, Chandekar, first I would like to have a small briefing on just on some timeline and some different data, which basically enlightens as to how things are moving and what kind of a situation is probably setting in for steel industry.
Okay, you
So,
want to share the screen?
no, I don't want to share. I'll just speak on some data.
Yeah,
When
please.
I was going through this world steel data, you'll be surprised that calendar year 2023, world produced 1891 tons. Out of that, 1019 is China and 140 is India. 2022 1890 total production, 1019 is China, 125 is India. Similarly, in 2021, 1962 million tons, which was probably the highest steel production globally, 1035 was from China and 118 was from India. India is continuously growing at a pace of close to 8 to 10% or 11%. That is there. But simultaneously, when I was looking at that crude steel data, that India already has a installed capacity of 160 million ton and operating on 140 million ton. Similarly, when I was looking at some import-export imbalance, people are saying a lot of import is taking place. Things are not taking shape the way it should have been. So I had seen that the highest import has taken in 2020, which was 6.69 million ton, and in the previous year, 2019, 6.36
Yeah,
million
right.
ton.
Yes.
Now, 2023, our import was 6.02 million ton,
Which is
while
reduced.
export, while export is
Something.
six, yeah, yeah, while export is 6.7 million ton.
Right.
So our export highest had been 10.7 million ton in 2021, out of when the production was 118 million ton. So probably close to 10% was the export. When we talk of 23, then our that works out to be around 5% of export. So
Mm-hmm.
in percentage terms, it has come down, and in other terms, it has moved up. Similarly, when I was looking at the per capita consumption also, see, I'm talking of per capita consumption of large economy. Large economy, today India has a per capita consumption of 81 kg, while uh, South Korea has 988,
Yeah.
China 645 per kg per capita consumption, and same way Austria 476, Crash 631, Japan 443, world average is 221. So at one point of time, we see we are much lower in per capita consumption. On the other hand, we see that still when we just import 5%, 6%, 7%, and when we just increase our capacity, the
Mm.
domestic consumption is not supporting that kinds of a production level or that kinds of a further imports also. Similarly, I was in China just a couple of months back, and I really saw that they have tremendous problem with respect to their domestic consumption.
Mm.
Kind of domestic consumption they had in the past, it's not going to be there in times to come.
Mm.
Now coming to demand of 1822 million ton. Now when we talk of that, what customer expectations, it all depends what the projections we are having. So European Union has got a demand expectations of 151 million ton. Other Europe is 42 million ton. CIS is 51 million ton. USMCA is 135 million ton. Central and South America 46 million ton. Middle East and Africa 93 million ton. And Asia and Oceanic 1304. World 1822. But this includes a tube production of 200 million tons.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning thereby, because tube, once you say tube production, getting converted out of your flats product. So you either you park it with the this flats product, because tube, you can say seamless tube is through long product. But parallelly, that seamless tube share per se globally is too less. So there are certain things. And in total global requirement, the automotive industry out of 1822 contributes to only 137 million. And which basically we are talking of a special steel industry. Acha, the
Not even
flats,
10%. Not even 10%.
not, it is not even 10%.
Not even. That's true.
And see, even when Mr. Avinash was talking of imports, imports was sizably on flat product and largely for car segment.
Mm.
See, import
Right.
by and large, it is not their commercial vehicle, tractor industry, two-wheeler industry. It is for high end or next to high end, the car segment, where certain companies they don't recognize or patronize the Indian steel product, depending the lightweight uh, requirement of the vehicle for fuel efficiency or the high reliability in that case. So that's how I was trying to touch upon couple of points before actually I was looking at that the top 10 car manufacturers also globally. And I could see a data of 1.5 year back when I saw that China with 26.08 million of car production, US 9.17, Japan 7.85. Then fourth come in India 4.4. This data
That's
is
right.
1.5 year old. South
That's
Korea
right.
3.46 billion ton, Germany 3.31, Mexico 3.15, and Brazil 2.25, which contributes largely your production. And when we are talking of with per se Indian domestic sales trend, now coming to specifically special steels, see passenger vehicle, the number which we sold in 21-22 was 30 lakh 69,000. And
That's
in 22-23, it is 3890, 27% growth.
correct.
Now, commercial vehicle against 7
Uh,
lakh 16,000 vehicle in 21-22, we did 962 in 22-23, 34% jump. Three-wheeler, 2,61,000 to 4,88,000, 87% jump. And two-wheeler, 1 crore 35 lakhs 70,000 to 1 crore 58 62,000 is 17% jump. But if we see the focus towards the EV has got very different, it has really emerged much beyond expectations, even in India. When I'll say the car which did 5,154 in 2021, it did 21-22, 18,622. And 22-23 is 47,499, close to about two and a half times. Similarly, buses also picking up from last year 1194 to 1984. But two-wheeler, you will see the surprising jump. In 2021, electric two-wheeler was only 44,000. 21-22, 2,52,000. And 22-23, 7,28,000. More than 3 times. So
Correct.
that's what I was
Good
trying to
status.
tell you. The focus of the by and large the purchaser is also shifting towards the economic range, and
Yes.
that they have basically, in case of two-wheeler, they broke the barrier of electric charging, etc., which always we had the apprehension. Even in the rural places, with the government policies reaching power to all nook and corner, roads and power, so that has helped even the rural area to have penetration by electrical vehicle segment. Surprisingly, Chandekar, on one hand, we say the stock market booming. On other hand, I see the steel plants balance sheet not doing so good. I would like to highlight certain points here also. See, when I was going through 2021 data, I saw everybody has made reasonably good EBITDA, all from minimum 15% to 40%.
Mhm.
While moving to 21-22, the EBITDA, again, it was reasonably good, but close to 5, 7, 8, 10% less than 2021. But surprisingly, 2023, the EBITDA was 50% of 2021. And again, this year, while see, we are selling more, we are producing more, there's a market, there's a demand, but your bottom line is always under threat. Now, this year, I see even this is to be close to 60% of what we did 2020, because we are going to close the financial year in next couple of days, and the results will be out in next say 30 to 45 days time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So my concern is that whether the recession is setting in. It is the
If
early.
the demand is growing, how can the recession be there?
No, yeah, that's how I was
Mhm.
coming. See, you have a vision of 300 billion ton. There is a demand.
Yes.
Demand will keep on it. You can keep on catering till you are not making negative EBITDA. But the day you start making negative EBITDA, it is a recession then. Whether now China do not have that kind of a domestic consumption. I have shown you 5 years figure. These are sort of flat figures. Rather, it has tapered down with the global production.
Mhm.
Now, another point is that when I go to this EBITDA, now another 60, 70 million tons of investment is already coming, and close to 30, 35 million ton is in terms of expansion by our all good great giants like JSPL, JSW, Tata,
Yes.
uh, ANMS, and on and on and on. My own, and see, even the small steel plant, they have emerged into big steel plants. So that is how I feel. Now, when I was looking at these things, so certain glaring fact has come in front of me. When I was looking at Coke was in for calendar year 20, it was $307. In calendar year 21, it was $517. In calendar year 22, it was $540. In calendar year 23, it was $371. Meaning thereby your raw material. Similarly, I have the prices of coking coal also, thermal coal also, iron ore also. I have the prices of iron ore. You will be surprised the iron ore prices had been constantly uh, I'm just taking a reference of NMDC. NMDC 20 in 2020, the average year DRCLO price was 3,900, which went in 21 7,300.
Mm.
And in 22, it came down to 5,700. And right now, it is again 6,000 rupees. So, I was coming to this, the raw material prices are not going down the way steel prices have come down. People are making profit. Demand is there, but the profitability has gone down. This gives me an impression whether or a question: are we heading for recession?
Yeah, that's a question.
Because
So
Mr. Avinash, what do you think? Will the auto sale support the steel industry?
a lot of things, very nice statistical data of information from Rajkamal, but I might like to put it in some other words about what he said and what I want to say. Uh, uh, there are a lot of uh, cross thinking going on this matter. What I mean by cross thinking, one, you talked about electric vehicle. Now, when we talk of electric vehicle, there is a increase of lithium ion battery, which increases the weight of gross weight of the vehicle. Obviously, is the vehicle's uh, power density comes down because of increase of weight of your lithium ion batteries. So obviously, to compensate the heavy metals, lithium ion batteries, what auto industry require will be reduce the weight of other body in white components or other vehicle components, particularly use either aluminum based alloys or steel with lightweight materials. So obviously the import, what you said, to be frank enough, the import is because of auto quality requirement. Now there is a important stalemate in this area. The stalemate is that one side, the crashworthiness requirements are going up, safety requirements are going up, You can see the Minister of Heavy Industry, Nitin Gadkari, talking many times about it, that on the highways, lot of controls are required by which occupants are survived. Whatever a vehicle is also to be survived, then only the occupants can survive. And for that purpose, the crash worthiness, what is called as crumple zones of the vehicle, frontal crumple zone or the rear crumple zone, or the deformation zone, that is the zone in which passengers are sitting, which are stationary, but at the time of accident, there is a displacement, intrusion, and we have to have the steels which will absorb more energy before the fracture takes place, or absorb this deformation energy, deformation, by which the occupant remains un injured. And that is the requirement which is growing up and up. Unfortunately, what I said, the crossmet is that the automotive standards, if they go up in safety and crashworthiness, then what you talk of conventional material as HSS and HSLA have to be replaced in the future with AHSS or UHSS. If the auto industry with steel has the best structural material to use more than aluminum alloys, you also talk of special steels. But remember, what we talk of special steel are green steels. What we mean by green steel, if you talk of, say, CO2 emission, when I use AHSS or UHS, I can save over the life cycle around 260 million tons of CO2 emission. But if I, instead of steel, if I use, instead of AHSS, if I use aluminum based alloys, then compared to aluminum based alloys, if I use AHSS, I will be able to save 400 million tons of CO2 in place of 260.
Yeah. See, green steel, carbon emission, carbon footprint, it itself is a very big topic, which probably Chandekar has been discussing in the morning also. Yes,
Okay.
but then that calls for a massive investment. And yes, there are, government is framing up the rules, the laws, and the bylaws. But the industry has to see as to how they can cope up with the kind of investment it will be looking at. See, our rates of interest, the finance cost is actually highly prohibitive for any, and steel is a highly capital intensive industry, highly power intensive industry. So you need lot of basically investment in that direction. Secondly, largely that will support the scrap based route. What will happen to blast furnace, DRI, induction route, and the alternate uses, whether, yes, JSPL and all, they have tried syngas. They are, see, in globally there is only one plant, or scrap route, who is claiming to be having the entire green steel. But the only point is that the kind of investment, again, I don't even subscribe, Chandekar, I don't subscribe to that point even, that you purchase carbon credit. You are making things, because then you are not improving, you are not correcting. You are correcting it by way of putting some money in that, what is called as,
That's not the real.
name of, yeah,
Rajkumar, Rajkumar, I may
Rajkamal.
be Rajkumar,
Rajkamal.
sorry, I may be interrupting you, but
Please.
as I read it in recent some of the articles, that over 10,000 crores have been invested by the government of India in towards of research and development in the particular sector, and their target is to go for 29,600 crores of rupees to be invested, so that whatever the import substitutions or the safety requirements or crash worthiness requirement of the auto industry can be met. You are right that investment is a basic problem, but with collaborative efforts, with more utilization of interactive working between the industry, academia, research institute, and government of India, if we cohesively come together as a hub to manufacture the steels of future generation, probably this may be possible as what we see in Germany. The Germany has a special hub where the steel industry, aluminum industry, or other industry work in hand with their universities like Brunswick University and other universities with BMWs and Volkswagen. Similarly, we need a corpus group coming together as integrated approach. I hope with making India progressing from 10,000 crores to 29,600 crore, what they are planning for is a good streamlining the activity to achieve it. So
I really
investment,
agree with you.
it's not only investment, it is also skill development requirement.
Right.
It's not easy. Skill development is one of the most critical area in this area to develop for.
But, I want to ask Rajkamal one question. Rajkamal, tell me what sort of R&D, is there any R&D going on in special steel plants?
No, actually, that's what I was trying to address. But he used one word in the end, corpus. See,
Mhm.
steel industry, because they keep on bleeding so high, and then they make some money in couple of years, so that past whatever they shed out, they make some money and they flow back for further expansion and investment, which we are doing right now even. But unfortunately, we do not have a good solid R&D hub. What he says,
That is true.
yes, that for in flats product, you need to have the lightweight, the strength, the crash worthiness, that safety of passengers traveling there. All these things are so highly important. But see, the kind of R&D we should be having in India, we are not having. So the kind of, see, investment today, what government is doing is the investment towards identifying, carrying out various studies towards the carbon footprint. But when we talk the value addition of the steel, when we talk of the, see, Chandekar, we are talking of microalloy in last 15-20 years. But microalloy, so that it eliminates the process of
Heat treatment.
heat treatment. So, and heat treatment is again a polluting industry. So, but then India could not make headway in microalloy because of couple of reasons. That one reason is that the kind of shift they were thinking that microalloy will save this kind of a money that really could not save. So that despite that Tata Motors, Mahindra, they are still using couple of microalloy grade. So, but my point is microalloy, the kind of R&D is still couple of OEMs, they insist for nickel chrome moly steel. While so many Japanese car manufacturers, they moved to carbon steel. All your this Maruti and all, Suzuki and all, they are all, their crankshaft is S48C. It's a medium carbon steel. So point is, so many R&D, the Japanese companies, what they did, but when you go to this German companies, they are still having, or the you can say British land will still ask for EN 353, 354, 355, all 1% nickel, 1.5% nickel, 2% nickel, 0.2, 0.3% of molybdenum
That's
and all.
true.
So
I'll
they
tell
will
you,
not.
see, I'll tell you in the morning, I don't know whether you were there, Rajkamal, or not. We discussed about rationalization of steel grades and specifications. So that is the answer
Correct.
for this. We have to rationalize and reduce the number of grades and specifications because there are a lot of overlapping grades.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes, I was there. And when it was ended up by Mr. C.S. Sharma,
Yeah.
one more point. even on price line. This see globally the special steel industry, whether you call it SBQ or the flat product, everything is index based. So that in the value chain, everybody is making some of the other money. In India, we do not have index based pricing. We should, through your forum, percolate this communication down the line, rather in government forum or in other forum also, we should also have the input, the index linked prices. In so many commodity, you have index linked prices. Or when gold is sold, it is sold on LME. When nickel is sold, it is sold on LME. So my point is, only thing is then comes the manufacturing cost. So my point is, certain indexing in special steel industry is also needed in India to eliminate the anomalies. Anomalies, either you make good money or you make bad money. You are not in the business to make very good money or very bad money. You are in the business, you are in a value chain. You are a processing
Correct,
industry
yeah.
in between where you make some money and everybody in the chain makes some or the other money. That is how I look at it. And when I was telling you with respect to the data I have shared, I have discussed with you, my only point is these are the initial signals when your contribution they tapers down. So these are the initial signals. Secondly, yes, we are going to have election in next 2 months' time. And probably government, now we expect government to have so many big mega projects. All that is going to help your 300 million ton vision. But one more thing, where is the logistic taking place? When I move material from Australia to India to Vizag port, my ocean freight varies from $9.7, I have paid as low as $9 also, to $15-16. When I move from Vizag to my plant, it is $20. So logistic cost. So similarly, when I move material from South Africa to India, that RB1 coal, or so I just pay a freight of 17, 18, 14, 15, $16. When I move
Yeah.
material from again Vizag to this place, it is $20. So we need to look for an economic and efficient way of rail transportation. See, road transportation is already, it has improved in India drastically. Credit to Mr. Nitin Gadkari and our respected Prime Minister Modi ji. But then most important thing is that all sectors have to be highly efficient to take, for 300 million ton of steel you require to handle at least 500 million ton of raw material.
3 times. Why 500? 3 times.
मैं तो see, because
Three
I
times,
have not
yeah.
considered that your scrap route, because see, when you say 300 million ton, it's a total kitty, which includes scrap as electric arc furnaces also. I told you conservatively, yes, what you are saying is right. Probably it will be around 700 million ton. The kind of fresh, the kind of tracks, the kind of efficiencies, the kind of I don't want to use word bureaucracy of the system,
Yeah.
kind of delayed decision making in the system. So, but then probably your forum, who is in touch of Ministry of Steels, Ministry of Railways, other things. So you need to take it up a little more strong, because that is going to help. First of all, infrastructure will build. You require a lot of steel to build that kind of infrastructure. We should have at least 70% of our home consumption. If out of 300 billion ton, if we develop, so you need to move to a per capita consumption of 150 kg minimum, 150 to 180 kg minimum.
Yeah.
Only then you can sustain these kind of. Otherwise, what will happen? Somebody has done 5 million ton steel in your country, and you will say there is a lot of imports taking place.
Can I
So,
add something
Yes.
to what
Dr.
you
Avinash.
said just now?
yes,
You used the word as index value or index price.
index
Uh,
instinct prices.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, if I say here, s- the uh, suppose if I say this way, that India imports more than 60% of auto grade of steels. If we make a small hub, one of your earlier words were around 4.4 to 5 million tons of steel is being imported.
Yeah,
If
6
that
million.
6 million, so if that is majority of it is for the auto industry and some other industries concerned, if we look at it, all these which are being imported grades of steels, if we make a small mini steel plant, I would say, let us say I'm calling it as mini steel plants, which will cater the research development wing, a special wing, which will cover up only these grades of materials which are imported. And there, the young generations of educational fields, if we give them a good job work over there to develop as Make in India steel, which will meet the industry. It is not easy to meet, I know that, but if we allow them freedom in making their R&D and make the a small hub of steel plant of catering 6 million tons, making these grades of material, will it not make us that price index to bring it down?
I'll put it otherwise.
Okay.
See, when you say 0.6 million, well, the 6 million ton of import, there is an export of more than 6 million ton. So
Correct.
that trade-off is taking place, number one. Number two, government has already announced this PIL scheme. PIL is, that is PLI.
Surprising.
PLI
Yeah.
scheme is basically to take care these indigenization, these expansion, investment towards it. But if you talk of any greenfield investment, that will take a very long time.
That is
But
a
if
long
you will talk of a brownfield expansion and value additions, it will be too fast. That is how the PLI people will start yielding result after 3 to 4 years time. But then once you look for the green field, you require 7 8 years because
correct.
first you will put up the plant, then you will put it on testing, then you will have the approvals. It is a long drawn process. So it is always better to have these things. So government has already encouraged this through PLI.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that question has already been addressed. Now the coming point is that value addition with respect to, see, India is a very big component hub. We need to keep on increasing that. Reason being, all those machines, all those Japanese, Italian machines are there in India, and only that output, the quality is all world class. Where the OEMs do not approve the Indian steel, you have to import the steel. But then by any OEM also, there is the agreement of the government that every year they have to keep on increasing the indigenization.
Indigenization, that is there. Yes.
So that
Yes.
is taking place here also with anybody, whether it is Toyota, it is Hyundai. When they were importing
True, sir.
5 years back, suppose 80%, they are importing now 30%. See, with the high level of production, where import has decreased. When we say in absolute number, we see that, but when you look in corresponding manner to their production, it has reduced basically. Because when I gave the figure that as to how the production had emerged of the automobile industry, that 23 commercial vehicles, passenger vehicle 38 lakhs 90,000, and in earlier year 30.69. And when 30.69 you were doing some export, with 38.90 you have done less import. The production is higher while the import is almost same. But when you have produced higher number of vehicles, you have
Yes.
not consumed the kind of
The kind
imported
of,
steel
yeah,
what you
yes.
used in the previous year.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
so that is how I am telling you that indigenization process is there with all the OEMs. Nevertheless, still, as you said, we have to do lot of work towards uh, quality, consistency. The only thing is why people talk of imported material is consistency also. Because
Absolutely.
we
That word
attack
I used it at the beginning. At my first presentation, I said not only the chemistry, but also consistency.
consistency. So that you see, the and consistency is nothing but a mindset and the discipline in the process route.
Correct.
So that is how I look at it. Chandekarji, I think probably I tried, and as far as you see, when
Yeah,
I
I
say
think
market and the expectations of the automobile industry, yes, their expectation will the better quality of steel with the optimum cost. But steel industry scenario I have shared with you with respect to EBITDA. So it is situation is not too healthy. So automobile industry also have to have a rational
Correct.
approach to it.
Obviously.
So
National,
absolutely.
I agree for national approach, but at the same time, auto industry is stretched in terms of more and more stringent norms, legislative requirements, and directives coming in the market. So meeting these legislations is not easy with the indigenous material. They have to import as on today. No, and one last point I wanted to add up is that we have not talked about one of the material which is an important requirement of the future customer requirement is the nano steels. Nano steels is one of the important today. It is at the stage of, I would say, research and development, not in the industrialization is there, but this is an era where as a nation built up is concerned. Nano steel, if we pick up on this technology, is one of the best technology for auto as a customer requirement. I would say lightweight steel. Normally steel density is 7.2. If I can design a steel with say 7 to 6.9 density and with high modulus,
right.
normal modulus is 200 GPa. If I go it to 265, 70 GPa steel with low density, I think it is one of the most important requirement for very heavy commercial vehicles on the road, which require to carry very high loads. And this technology as a future, we should also take it into picture
But
as nano steels for the future.
Avinashji, still I see that
Yeah,
probably by uses of aluminum, lot many things would have sorted out. But again,
yeah.
the cost is prohibitive.
Correct, correct. That is there. But
So,
when the performance, it is now we have to work out the cost with reference to improved performances. The
right.
conventional at today's some level, we have the performance. If it uplifts the performances to carry the higher loads, then it is always better. I can give an example. If you are using multi-tire multi-wheels on the road, if I reduce the number of wheels connected to the vehicle from say 20 to 18 or 16, four wheels less, but carrying higher loads is a good technology development. So
I
cost will go up, but performance will improve, and the ratio of performance to cost, if you take it, is always better for it. So anyhow, this is my views on the
One thing,
discussion.
Rajkamal, you were mentioning about aluminum taking away some components from steel. Yes, we have lost
Yes,
around 10% components in to aluminum, and also composite is also coming in a big way. So we are
right,
losing some more business permanently.
right.
The steel industry is losing some more business for composites. So
See,
Chandekar,
I with
Chan
electric vehicle coming in,
yeah,
your usage of steel in component basically in transmission, it is going to reduce drastically.
yes, yes, and that is more penetration is in two-wheeler market, which is
Right.
in the morning they were discussing that one third of the two-wheelers will be electric vehicles by 2030.
I have already given you a figure of electric vehicle migration.
Hmm.
That was, see, just 2 years back, India sold
44,000. Yeah,
800 vehicle only. In
Yeah.
21, 22, 2,52,000 vehicle.
correct.
And
And it
in
will go to 6
22,
lakh.
22, 23, 7,28,000 vehicle.
Correct.
See this.
Correct. So
So
So,
there is in two-wheeler segment, there is a threat.
no,
No,
two-wheeler, three-wheeler also. Three-wheeler also, there is a threat. Lot of, you see, electric three-wheeler on the road.
no, I would say other way to what Chandekar said. Aluminium, there is a shift to aluminium.
Hmm.
But as I said to you, if we develop the special ultra high strength steels or AHSS grades of steels,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
CO2 generation, which is more with the aluminium, then you can resubstitute the aluminium with AHSS.
Okay. So we can regain that business if we
Regain
do some
yeah,
R&D.
yeah.
So maybe on this note, we can we stop here because this is unending subject. We can discuss
That is true.
continuously. All of us are associated with special steel sector for such a long time that we can keep on discussing. And actually, there was no conclusion to be drawn. It was just exchange of ideas, exchange of data, exchange of perception. So this was the purpose of this session, and I think we have succeeded in achieving this purpose. So thank you very much, Rajkamal, for sparing your time, and thank you very much, Dr. Avinash. You are in UK and you have still spared some time for us. So it was very absorbing, very interesting discussion. If somebody wants to put up some last point or something, we are open. It's not that we are closing at this particular moment. Anybody wanting to make any last point? Welcome, sir.
Yeah, we are ready to answer.
Yeah. No, I mean, you people want to make some last comment.
No, but only thing is, we expect people to keep on working for cost reduction, for better product, for better usability, for better your capacity utilization, more capacity utilization, more efficient industry will keep on surviving on a narrow EBITDA also. But any inefficient move by any company, by any industry, the today market is not going to support that. You cannot have a legacy in today's market.
Yes, very rightly said. Very rightly said. Thank you.
My
last word.
My last word about it is that steel is going to dominate irrespective of any other composite materials or aluminum-based alloys coming in the market. But if steel has to survive, they have to go for the green steels, which will provide the lower amount of CO2 emissions, meet the life cycle analysis towards having low GHG greenhouse gas generations, and meet the RRR, that is the recycling, regeneration, and again reuse of the material in the circular economy is concerned. So steel will remain as alive as it is in the past and will remain the best material of tomorrow.
Yes, thank you, Rajkamal, and thank you, Dr. Avinash.
Thank you very much.
Time. It was a very absorbing season. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajkamal.
Yeah, thank you. And gentlemen, we are coming to the end of this session, and we are also at the end of the Special Steels Convention. So during the day, as you know, we have discussed a lot of things like digitalization, like green steel making, like tool and die steel dynamics, and we also talked about PLI. So practically all aspects of steel, special steels markets also, how they are growing, and what is the future of the special steels, the new trends coming up. So all these we have discussed, and I think it was a very absorbing discussions all the while. And I thank all our panelists, all our present speakers for their active participation in this. And just to add one more last thing, we, as this is a digital platform, so we are recording the all these sessions and we are redistributing it across the globe. And our experience for last 3 years, speaks that it will at least reach to more than 25,000 steel professionals across the globe. So we will just edit and process these recordings and redistribute it to the whole world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye
Thanks.
bye.